Hey guys, it's me, Gavin Vengeance, and today I just kind of want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about my experience with the game Final Fantasy for NES. It's not actually my favorite or my first Final Fantasy game in the entire series, but I kind of want to go over what my experience with that game was and how it came about. I was probably only 13 or 14 years old when I first tried it, so nowhere near when it was actually released. But the game, I actually tried it out after playing games like Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy IV. And I really enjoyed those games, so I said, hey, why not try the original game and, see how it differed from the ones that I had played on the SNES. I went back and tried it out when I found out that my cousin actually had a copy that he had for his Nintendo, and he never played it, ever. So we kind of booted it up, tried it out. We noticed immediately that there was like a job system, and each job had a different role. You had your fighter, your white mage, your black mage, red mage, monk, I believe, but I think it was called black belt back then. And there was also one more class, and the thief. That's what it was. I couldn't remember for a second. But yeah, so we tried it out first, and we actually started out. We made, I think it was like 3 warriors, and we had 1 white mage or something in our party. And we just kind of went through the story and never really knew what was going to happen or anything. And I remember back in those games, it was really hard to find out where you had to go next in the story. And I think we had to go back and keep talking to one of these NPCs that was standing outside of a fountain in the first village in order to find out where we kind of had to go. They would give you vague updates throughout the story of the game. And I think it was only that one NPC, really, if you weren't paying attention too much to the dialogue. But I remember, booting it up for the first time and seeing how different the graphics were from the SNES copies that I had actually played of other games, other Final Fantasies. And I don't say it was too hard to get back into, it's just, it was a drastic difference going backwards that way. My first experience with it, I really did like the game. I liked the way it played. It was very foreign to me seeing how the characters were on one side of the screen in a different window from the actual monsters being on the other side. And it was rather difficult, actually. In some areas, I remember, just going through the first area and stuff like that, going towards the first boss, Garland, and not having too much trouble. But then I remember heading over to another one of the towns later in the game and getting completely destroyed by ogres out on the out on the actual world map, and then having to start over from the last save, which it was definitely something that I enjoyed, but it wasn't up to where I was used to, I guess, in terms of storytelling or character development and stuff like that, and actually just ease of use, but. You can kind of see that's where the roots of Final Fantasy started, and to me it was enlightening to actually see how far RPGs came from things that I played later on as well, like Dragon Quest and such, the original ones, for SNES or for NES as well. But it's just, I don't know, it was a real eye opener to see how far RPGs had come at that time. Like I said, Final Fantasy, the original one, wasn't really my favorite Final Fantasy. Because, like I said, it wasn't my first one that I ever played. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot, but, I did have a good experience with it, and it's definitely not my least favorite of the series, but it's a real eye-opener if you haven't played it, to just go back and try it out and, kind of see the history of Final Fantasy. I do remember that when we were playing it on the NES originally, that I didn't complete the game because I ended up getting destroyed a lot actually on the world map because I wasn't really into grinding. So a few years later, when I had a PlayStation Portable, I remember they released the 20th anniversary edition with upgraded graphics, and that was after the PlayStation remake came out as well. But I went back and played that one, and since like the graphical enhancements and everything were closer to like the Super Nintendo era, except obviously a lot more smoothed and actually a lot better, it just kind of, it was a lot easier for me to play, and I think that they like updated the story system a little bit easier to find out where you had to go next in it. And I completely played through that game on my PSP. That was a really great way to actually experience the story. So if you're going to look into trying out the game, I'd recommend trying to get the PSP copy, and if not, get the Origins copy for PlayStation, or, you know, I think you can also get them on like various stores as well, like the PlayStation Store and stuff like that, to try it out. So I'd recommend, you know, going the more updated route than going back for the NES experience, which is kind of jarring, I guess, this day and age. But, you know, like I said, it's something that you kind of feel like you have to go back and play. At least I did. I felt like, you know, I owed it to myself to go back and see where the game came from, the history of Final Fantasy. And I was pleasantly surprised, actually, by how the ending turned out, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but not that it would be spoilers this day and age anyways, but it's just when I eventually got to the end boss on the PSP version and experienced the entire story, and then went and did the bonus dungeons and stuff, I was really pleased with how it turned out, and I'm glad that I went back and played it and tried it out, because it actually gave me a lot better respect for RPGs this day and age, and also just Final Fantasy as a whole, to see, you know, the story of the four Warriors of Light and how that came to be. So yeah, definitely recommend, like, if you haven't tried it, at least give it a try, and, you know, maybe you guys will have a great experience of your own. Maybe you guys just won't like it and toss it aside, but that's for you to decide. And this is just kind of, like I said, just my own experience with the game, where I was, like I said, you know, in the mindset of 13-year-old boy, and eventually when I went back to play it, I think I was roughly about 17 or 18 years old maybe. But yeah, just going back and trying that out, and kind of the mind frame I was in, which was kind of like, oh, I wonder how this compares to the other Final Fantasies. And I'm going to continue on this mini-series, I guess if you want to call it that, with other games that I've played, and not just Final Fantasy series, but I do kind of want to focus on that first. So if you guys are interested in hearing, like, kind of what my thoughts were on the game, then by all means leave me a comment in the comments below, and like, share, subscribe, appreciate it. I'll be doing these videos hopefully every week, and we'll see how it goes, I guess. So definitely come back and check out any other videos that I may have if you're interested at all, and I'll definitely see you guys in the next one. See you later.